The Anu are highly evolved people who have been noted and modeled among an aggregation of world nations and cultures. We, Anu, have been associated with ancient Kemetic priesthood, the Twa, Ethiopians, Ife, Aka, Bango, Congo, Ishango, Nupe, Yoruba, Edu, Israelite, Bambara, Sumerians, Assyrians, Babylonians, Akkadians, and more. Though you may see reference to Anu held in diverse cultures and religious systems, make no mistake, we, Anu, emerged to exemplify and build the kingdom of Yah.
Peace. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Peace. We give thanks to the Most High Yah. Welcome, everyone, to another Sabbath Aftershow. Today, we're going to be following up Chief Yah's build on tribe. So we're not new to this topic, but I think that we've learned about tribe from a different angle today. And some of the things that she spoke about was organic tribalism versus digital tribalism, and he also spoke about language as well. So those are the two things that stood out to me. But I guess we're going to share our wisdom and what we got just in general as it relates to the topic tribe. But first, we want to start off with a trivia question. So
Yes. Well, before we do that trivia question, I just want to greet everybody in the chat because apparently we were starting on colored people time. But the trick is, like I said in the chat, the trick is you guys have to imagine us starting on time in order for that to manifest, because that's what we were taught today. You got to start here. So next Sabbath, y'all just imagine us starting on time, and we will. So Shabbat Shalom to Sata Ahava.
I had to.
Oh man. Shabbat Shalom, Sata Ahava, Aki Isaiah, Anu Radio, of course, Master. Shabbat Shalom, Master Minelek. Shabbat Shalom, Aki Farar, Steph Love. Who else we got in the house? Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So, right. What had happened was we imagined it. That's why we're here on time.
Apologize.
We'll get better. Shabbat shalom, Sister Yafe. Well, let's jump into it. We do have a trivia question for you guys. Just something to think on and try to find that answer, and just put it in the chat. So, when is the first time that we see the word tribe used in Torah? When is the first time? I'll put that question up.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So put your answer in the chat. All right. Now, as we go into this segment again, like Sister Koti said, we're reflecting what our master taught on this Sabbath message, but we want to give it from the perspective of a woman, right? So one of the questions we're going to ask and just kind of explore is, if you are a woman and you want to be a part of a tribe, what are some things that might be required? So Hakosi and I were just speaking, behind stage, just on some things that might come to mind, or some things that we might want to share with sisters who are looking to be a part of the tribe and what that might look like. So Hakosi, I'm going to let you kind of go on into your first point, and we'll just flow from there.
It was profound to me when Master had mentioned, like, at the beginning, and he was speaking about the components of language, and he gave the little exercise at the beginning where it's like when he mentioned pineapple, and everybody, like, he asked, well, did you get an image or did you get the word? And then he was saying like that our thought usually comes like as a image. And so to me that was powerful, because it's like, that is so true. Like, when I think of things, it is always like a mental picture inside of my side of my mind. So I was like, okay, that was the light. And I was like, so to me, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's the light.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was profound to me. But when it came to like tribe, and I was just thinking about that, I did think about when Chief did share, I think it's on the Chief Uyat channel, and he spoke about tribe. and he spoke about the aspect of the man symbolizing the rod and the staff and being a shepherd, and how women, it's our role to trust that and to follow that like sheep. So that's what I thought of. And I was like, okay, so what does that look like when it comes to that mental image? Like, do all of us, and I knew, have the same image or the same picture of what it looks like to live in that tribal fashion based on, what we've been taught. So I know you were sharing like some ideas of like, okay, well, you thought about the homestead and what that looks like and what that image was. So if you want, share more on that, and then yeah.
Yeah. So just like as you were saying, just being able to accept that rod and staff and that correction from that man, and just thinking about that order, right? So everything coming from the man to the woman to the child. So I know yesterday Master kind of mentioned or gave an example of how his mom would come in the dawnings and sing a song to them to wake them up. And so I thought about in the homestead, like the mother is responsible for imputing certain words, certain images into that child, at a young age to kind of get them familiar with tribe. Like, this is how we move as a tribe. So I thought that was a beautiful example. Of course, you're singing certain songs or you're relating certain words to how you guys function within either a homestead or within your tribe. So I thought about, you can use different languages and different words, different sounds to show like, okay, maybe like in Anu, we're charged to speak different languages, right? We have to speak an ancient language. So you can use different words in different languages that mean certain things to invoke a certain spirit or a certain mindset inside of that child through song, right? Or even I know a lot of times in some of the retreats, like you'll see when the children are there, you use art, the form of art to create, and maybe they're learning something, right? They might be learning 14 keys, but they're given art in order to create what that image might look like for that particular principle or something like that. Like, these are just things that I'm thinking about as a woman or as a mother inside of a home you could do to create a space for those children to be able to correlate certain words and culture and just how that looks. So
Yeah, I do think about the power of like media and like how they use certain symbols and symbology to program people. And so I think about like, yeah, like using our symbols, and when it comes to like tribalism, like what do our symbols look like and how are we manifesting that, you know? So because whatever we like, whatever image we have of those symbols is what we're manifesting. So it's like, it's kind of like, okay, well, if we're not manifesting, what it is that we're being taught, but then I knew, then what images are we actually seeing when we read the text, when we read Torah, and the things of that nature. So that like came to my mind, but I do see there's some answers in the chat, so we can kind of, get into that. Akoti Yafe says Exodus.
but where? Gotta be specific. Uh-oh. Master Menelec said Exodus 31 and 2. Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner. So it is Exodus 31 and 2. In the first reference, or that word tribe is used to reference the tribe of Yahuda or Judah, right? And that was in reference to a segment that Master taught, I think earlier this year, and it's called Tribe. It's on the Chitu channel. So if you get a chance, go back to that episode so you can get a little bit more information on tribe and just different ways to look at the word and the concept of tribe. So it's a good one. Okay. I guess, did you look that up in your notes, or did you? I wonder.
He gave up pretty fast. He put it in there pretty fast. So I might already had that.
Oh, yeah. Well, we have a follow-up question, another trivia question to ask since you guys got that one. And so that question is, what is another word for tribe? All right. And when you get the answer, of course, put it in the chat. So we'll just keep on going. There was something I was studying this stronger, just looking up just from a conversation, and I guess we gonna make it work, right? So I wonder, like, what comes to mind, and of course, you can answer this if you want, since we're talking about symbols and we're talking about the usage of words and symbols and how it correlates to tribe and how you function. What comes to mind when you see the symbol of a heart or you hear the word heart? What comes to mind?
Unfortunately, the programmed, you know, meaning of it, which is love. That's the yeah. I still have that. That's what immediately comes to mind. Um,
Mm-hmm.
per-
Yeah, I
it,
ended up exploring that this week, a few days, and I'm still exploring it, but I thought it was interesting because I know a lot of times, of course, children are introduced to that concept of love and uh, through little Valentine's card or whatever, you get those heart shapes and everything, and somehow it all correlates to love. It correlates to family. It correlates to just many other things. And as I was looking it up and learning, like, okay, the actual symbol itself is not, it doesn't actually mean that. And I was like, well, where did this come from? And I was finding things about ancient Greek and how it was parallel to this flower seed called stipulum, and
mm,
how it was actually used as a contraceptive to prevent pregnancy. And
right.
but then I was also seeing like the shape of it. It looked almost as if it was the buttocks, right? And there was
Uh-oh.
some butt love, like I said, or thugging love, what they call it on the blue note, some thugging love going on.
Mhm.
But it was interesting because it was all surrounding the idea of anything that was not procreative, right? And so I was just thinking about like how often we introduce that concept to our children and probably not even realize, what we're programming into them. And so I thought about the idea of love. And like if I had children right now, what are some symbols I would put up around the house that would be symbolic of quote unquote love, or the way that a tribe would move or a family would move. And of course, the first thing came to mind was I would put an image of a man, woman, and child. Like that would be a symbol that I would want to program into my children, or to me, that would be symbolic of the heart or love, right? Those are words that I would associate and images that I would associate. So, yeah.
That's interesting. When it comes to like symbols, I do think about, when Chief has taught like that we are the symbols. So to me, like I look at the culture in the sense of like how the mother and father are
Mm-hmm.
living. That's the
Mm-hmm.
symbol. The that's the thing that's going to stain because children they pick up on the habits of the parents very quickly, very easily. So it's like your symbol and how you're functioning as a person has to be top notch. You have to be moving, so when I see like that image of like tribe or family, like I do see people who are so in accordance to the same culture that they're moving alike, like true alikes. You don't have some people over there doing something else, and it's like what the heck? Like everyone is truly moving on one accord. That's the image that comes to my mind when I think about tribe, and it's like, but I do know like every family is going to be different, so it's not going to look exactly the same, but certain things is like it should be the same. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah, as you said that, of course, I'm thinking about um, Master was mentioning, like sometimes when you're outside of that or when that's been taken away from you, there's a certain level of anxiety that you experience. And I think a lot of us, because he touched on it, but I think I could say maybe for a lot of us, that's probably why we came to I knew, and in that sense of safety, because you do have people who are maybe thinking alike, or maybe they had certain thoughts that people on the outside were just like, oh, that's crazy, like it's not that deep, or maybe certain ideas or things that we envision being a thing, people was like, no, that's never going to happen, and Yeah, think about nation building too. Like Master said, a lot of times if you mention something like that, sometimes people get scared. So, I'd imagine like people having that image in their head and saying, but this can be possible. So maybe I need to get around people who are thinking like that as well. So I would think that's what led some people to find their tribe, you know?
Yeah. I am curious as to what you mean when you said first you must become familiar with tribes, with the tribe's culture. Because I do think about the man being the rod and staff, and so like a lot of learning how to function as a tribe is listening to what your master or what your head is saying, and that's how you like some things it may not like okay I have the luxury to kind of sit around and become familiarized because they may have the knowledge to say like do this thing and you may not even understand. You may be like okay I'll find out once I apply it, then I have that understanding. But it's kind of so I just do wonder like what you mean, by that soft top. If you want to join us and share more, feel free.
All right, we got some answers in the chat in terms of what is another word for tribe. Benas? I don't think I know that one. Is that Greek?
I
Is that
am
Greek?
not or
I don't know. It's a specific word we're looking for. Stop the Hava says family. Not the word we're looking for. Let's see. I don't know what she's talking about. Answer 3. Okay. Try. I get where you're going. Try 3, but that's not the answer. Botox? No, that's meant like I said buttocks, not Botox. Maybe it's the accent. I don't know. Okay, Aki Isaiah said collective group, individuals with the same goal working together. No, just the word, just one word, not a definition. All right, Master says tribe, Shabbat, tribus, 3. Yes, but no, that's not the word we're looking for. But I can't say that's wrong because it's Master. It's like it's right, but it's wrong, but it's right. All right. Well, I guess we'll have to give that answer at the end. Oh, Lord, they didn't ask the question. They don't know the answer. We do. It came from your teaching, actually. So we'll share. The answer was actually branch.
well, there's multiple, there is multiple answers though, because
Right.
so but
But
I
that
guess
was the specific answer we were looking for. We were looking for the word branch. That was a term that Master used in the tribe segment on the Chief UI channel, where he said another word for tribe can be branch. And it was in reference to the branch of Yahuda. So hopefully that's a nice plug for you guys to go back and just watch that segment and pull more. Do we have to imagine the 3 for it to be right? I think that's where y'all went wrong. You can do that. You can do that. You can do that. Oh man, that's funny.
She says the answer is also tribulation.
Tribulation. Trials and tribulation. Comes to make you stronger. So I guess I'm thinking and I could be going wrong, but I'm thinking in terms of tribe. Maybe there's a process of refinement or a process of building tribes. So you go through tribulations, you go through things. That's where my mind is going. I don't know. What did you think about when Master started talking about gibberish and shamanic singing? Because I had a lot of things that came to mind, but what did you think about that?
I have to go back and listen because that part didn't, I heard it, but it didn't stick out to me. So yeah.
No, yeah, it's good. I was
in regards to what you got.
Yeah, no, I thought about a couple of things. I was thinking about and I could be wrong, but I don't know if you guys remember there's an old song. And I remember this because it's just interesting to me. But there was this old song called the Double Dutch Bus. I don't know if you remember the Double Dutch Bus coming down the street, right? And there's a part in the song where he's saying something. It's like, but you don't know what he's saying. I guess he's saying the double gazuch or double, but it sounds gibberish.
I think I know. I think
right.
I know.
That's what it says. I remember, but they're saying something. And I just think about a time where, like if you've ever been around like family, I guess, or tribe or whatever, or you go to certain events and let's say that song plays, it's like, or you're somewhere and let's say you start singing that part of the song. For some reason, everybody that knows it, they just kind of light up. They light up when they're singing that part. And I would imagine like in that moment, everybody's probably thinking of a time where maybe that song was playing and maybe they were double dutching or maybe they were with their family. But it sparks like this image we probably all have, right? And it just kind of takes us all to this space where we all are connected. And that's what came to mind. I thought about that, but I also thought about a time where just learning Hebrew, learning certain words and like making songs from that and just like not really using the words, but just humming like certain melodies and certain things. And it created a song. Like I actually remember doing that a couple of times. So when he started talking about like, talking gibberish or you're not really saying anything, but it's almost like it's a vibe. It's a connection that you have that you can't really explain it, but you know.
I guess like what comes to my mind when you share that is that like sometimes like you'll have like certain people you may be close to. I know of my sister, like people will call us twins, but we were literally like have like the same thoughts sometimes. And it was kind of like uncanny, but like sometimes like certain things would symbolize something. You may just look at a person and be like, I know exactly what you're thinking, or we thinking the same, we have the same picture, the same image. It's like, and you just laugh, but no words are said. And other people could be looking, be like, what the heck is like, what's the joke? But only those two people know what happened and what something meant, So that's what comes to my mind,
Oh man.
Yeah. But yeah, I do think about like he mentioned like freedom too, like being free. And he was saying like I think he said slaves, they can't really like move tribally if I have that correctly, but you have to be a free person. And so I do think about what the Anu Way says, and it talks about women like being made free to be women. And so I think about like all the different ways that we're supposed to be moving freely, and what that looks like, you know. I'm assuming that it looks like what we're supposed to be functioning like. Every woman in our news supposed to be raising children, and I can only speak about our culture, so that's why I'm not really like speaking about the secular world. But I do think about like what that symbolizes and what that creates and what that looks like, and like what type of like culture does that create? What type of conversations does it create? Thoughts, what type of manifestations does it create, and things of that nature. So I definitely would love to hear more from the other women in terms of like how you see tribalism. That would be beneficial, and even some of the brothers too.
When you speak about a woman being able to be free and what it creates, like certain words, and I think about like, yes, Master has told us when you read the Anu Way, you're supposed to read it out loud. And of course, it makes sense. Like as you're reading certain words, there should be a formation inside of your mind, a mental image of what that is going to look like. So if you're reading the section of the Anu Way that talks about the woman, then as you're reading it, you should be, forming a mental image in your mind of what you would look like as you take on those attributes or those descriptions, right? And so I thought about it from the flip side, and I'm just like, okay, so I wonder, like, when people hear certain words like submission, because people are triggered by those words, right? So I'm like, okay, what's the mental image that comes into a lot of women's mind. Like if you're righteous or if you're not righteous, like what is that image that comes into mind? And I think, or even words that are associated with submission, because I could think of a few, right? Submission. Some people might associate submission with control.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might associate weak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Weak.
Yeah.
But then we know, like, okay, within the context of I knew, there are certain words we don't use. Like we don't use the word weak. We use the word strong. So then if we put that word submission in the middle, like maybe the words that come to mind would be strong, or it would be woman, or it would be strength, right? Or certain mental images would begin to create in our mind, as opposed to when we're living outside of this culture. Those are the other things that will come up. So I don't know. That's when my mind just went like, certain words.
Yeah. So when you shared that, like I did think about like, okay, the word submission. So like, yeah, like a lot of times like that's like a trigger word for people. But when I look at it, I do look at it as a form of like a woman being strong, because like, so here's my perspective.
Mhm.
When I think about different, like, 'cause I know Chief has taught on different like martial arts, like different practices, and like the Tao being one of those things where it's like you move like water, like those type of practices where you have to like kind of like go in. You're not necessarily going outwards, but you have to kind of like, the power is in going within. And so I
Mhm.
don't know much about martial arts, so I don't want to pretend like I do, but I think about like qualities like vulnerability, being humble, like feminine qualities that is like qualities that the Anu woman is supposed to have. And I look at that, I was like, those things are hard. Like those is like, it seemed like it's soft qualities, but it's like it's not easy for a lot of women who may be like aggressive and think that's strong, for them to turn around and be vulnerable. Or they may
Mhm.
look at that, oh, you're weak. But then she was taught like there's strength and weakness, but it's like I've seen like women say like, "Oh, you're weak for maybe staying with a man that maybe has that wants to be with multiple women, and they'll say like, "Oh, you're weak, you're a pushover, or you're a doormat," and things like that. But it's like it takes someone with strength to be able to say, "You know what? I'm gonna." It just takes strength to not like just kind of go with what everyone else is saying, and just like I'm gonna just do that because that's, yeah. I'm just gonna follow everybody else like a slave. But to me, it takes strength to do something different. Like, no, it's right for me to follow Torah and to stay. Like, women shouldn't be leaving, the men that they're with because they don't like something or because they're unhappy. So it actually takes strength to say, you know what, I'm gonna follow law. That's more strong than just being emotional. Be like, I'm out of here. It's like that doesn't take any type of strength at all. It just take you being out of control. Just, going out and doing something. But yeah.
I think about like tribal state, as you said,
Mm,
that like that's the tribal mindset to have, because if you leave, like what are you considering, maybe what you could be damaging by leaving? Like I guess it's like what Master was saying in one of the videos, like you're not thinking about what's being built here. So it seems that, of course, the slave might think I'm for myself. Whereas if you're moving and you're thinking from a tribe state, you're thinking, we have to do this. We are for ourselves. We are moving through the world with a purpose and a mission. And so I think as he talks about a slave not being able to balance the ecosystem, it would be because maybe they're only thinking of self, or it could just, that fear is there. Or, when you speak about, it was something you said, and I was like, yeah, because there are certain symbols that are all around us that just continue to enforce this idea of, if you say with a man who has multiple women, you're weak, or being humble, or those things are considered weak. There are certain things, that symbols that are continuing to push that image off on us.
mm.
So
Brother Ron 9 says, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It reminds me how a lot of Black communication is sounds and grunts, especially in the South. James Brown made songs with grunts as a large portion of the song.
Mm-hmm. There are times where I mean, and I'm here, but you could be in a jam session. Like I don't know, like you could watch certain videos on YouTube. We're just older singers and you just see them like they making certain faces, right? But you know what that face means. Like you know when some like you know what that means. Like you that's but we know what that means no matter where you go. It's like you feeling that. It's funky, but it's a thing that you can use the word funky. You can use that, but really it's something that you can't explain,
Yeah.
when you
Soulful.
really feel it. Mm-hmm.
So we have a guest piece.
Uh-oh.
Oops, my bad. Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Is she coming out? Okay, peace, Dakota Yamina.
Peace. I just wanted to answer your question really quickly, Koti Sequoia. I think it was what do we visualize when tribe comes to mind? Was that the
Yeah.
question? Yeah. And there's something that Chief put in the chat about tribe also meaning tribulation. And that got me thinking, well, envisioning that tribe is actually a disruptor to the programming that's always out there. That was what Chief spoke on today about how gibberish is like a way to bypass the programming. I think a tribe is also the way that we bypass the programming because we have a community, we have a shared set of symbols that takes us back to the root. So that's what came to mind, like just a group of people who are, you know, it they're the programming doesn't get to them.
That kind of, in a sense, is parallel to when Master was breaking down the dangers of polygyny and having a homestead where there are multiple wives, and you have a group of people who are moving a certain way. It disrupts certain ideas and concepts that we may have accepted, like the single mother or the independent woman, or things like that. So I think, yeah, when you say that, it's along the same lines.
Yeah.
I thought about Matthew 5:10. Blessed are they which are, we learn, pursued for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And when you mentioned the tribulation, like, and how you related it to like a tribe and like what they have to go through, I thought about like, yeah, because it's like we're always like trying to, like, we're being pursued all the time, always have to, like stand strong in what we do. But yeah, so I can see, like, the relation to with the two, between the two as well.
And also that we cause a problem. We are trouble for the system trying to colonize us. So I also looked at it that way, like we are disrupting that system.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And that can look all kinds of different ways. And I did think about polygyny as well. When she spoke about the dangers of polygyny, and he spoke about like how it's dangerous to, you know, pretty much the enemy, or
Mhm.
whatever name we want to call them, the government or whatever. It's a threat, you know. So
Yeah. But give thanks. That's all I wanted to. My little 2 cents. Give thanks, sister.
thank you for asking.
Thank you for adding on. Yes.
Shalom.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess that is another aspect that I think of too. Like when you in a tribe, I do think about strength and how strong like people look when they are moving in that fashion. And yeah, every time I see it, like I see people going in hordes and they like all dressed, they have the same attire and they just walking like, yeah, this is what we represent. I'm like, wow, that looks so powerful. That looks so, you know, yeah.
Mhm.
But,
I guess when you said that, I'm thinking about if you ever see people, I don't know, certain tribes when they dance and they dance in sync, and just how powerful that is. Or if they're singing and they're dancing and they're all moving in the same manner, and just how powerful that is. Even if it's just two people doing it, it does something when you see that, as opposed to you might have 2 or 3 people dancing, but they're doing something completely different, right? Each individual is doing something completely different. But when you see people moving in sync, it's like I don't know, it's almost like well, I guess it's a ritual, because it's reinforcing something in your psyche when you see that. And it's like striking a certain nerve or something. Like it's powerful. So I think about that. That's the image that comes to mind when you talk about tribe and everybody moving a certain way and being in unison. So
CVS says a slave can't balance the ecosystem of a tribe. Yeah, because it seems like you always have to fight someone who is not thinking outside the box, or that is holding on to, this European culture. And it's like, you got to think differently in order to even thrive. Or you have to be able to listen to your head. Like that's an example. Someone who doesn't listen, doesn't want to submit. It's like you showing that you can't get down in a tribal fashion. So, you know.
did we do that one? That goes back into the tribal definition and symbols of weakness and strength, especially if those words have different meanings that are gender specific. Yes. A lot of times men are considered strong or strength, and sometimes women are considered weakness. But I think, in a sense, because we understand the woman is the weaker vessel, and then understanding like that man is supposed to protect her. So I don't think, I'm just saying, I don't think maybe the way that we've used it has been backwards in a sense. So peace, Akoti Yafe.
Peace, Koti.
Peace. I came on to answer the question. I think when I hear tribe, I think of one band, one sound, right? So like everybody is moving like everybody's moving to the beat of the same drum. Like even if you have like your own, because we all have an individual purpose, we all have the question that we were sent here to answer. So you're gonna have, whatever your contribution to the beat is, to the melody, right? But then it goes into that orchestra, like that symphony. All the parts come together to create something beautiful. And then there's also, you're moving to the same vision. Whatever that vision is, everybody is moving toward it to manifest it. So that's what I think of when I think of tribe. And it doesn't matter if you're really on it. It doesn't matter what is happening outside of that. Like what is the goal. You have the goal in sight, and that's what everybody is moving towards. So that's what I think of what comes to mind, I guess. Based on what we were learning today, like the image, right? Like what is the image that comes to mind, or the the moving picture in my head.
That made me think of the retreat activity that we did in New Orleans. It was actually this time last year, around this time. And everybody had to create that formation of Bereshit, using the scripture reference. But the idea was, okay, everyone is coming from different parts of the earth, or, as we've been spread all over, but we're coming together to form an image of creation that's new, that I knew, right? And so it points back to what Akoti Yafe is saying, like everybody has a different position, everybody has something different that they're bringing. But once we come together, we're formatting something. We're singing, we're creating a song that has never been heard before, right? So I think of that.
Akiel Carrara says, I also think of being a, I can't see that, a hive and being hive minded, all in one accord and able to protect the hive from outsiders or outside views, even if it's internal.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna come and try to spy on what y'all doing, and we gotta have the discernment to be like, no, you don't. You ain't coming here with that.
Or it's like, 14
Mm,
keys. One bad apple spoils the bunch.
Mm.
yeah, and it looks different, like what the role of the woman would be in the man too, like in terms of what that looks like, you know.
Mhm.
So you know,
I think about as he's saying that, I'm thinking about like how many of us have come from families where I don't know, like you might have families that say, we might have issues amongst ourselves, but don't mess with one of us. If you mess with somebody, we all coming after you. Like, I don't know if I don't know if you guys have families like that or have experienced that, but it's like whatever issue is going on, we're working that out internally. But if somebody comes and tries to attack the tribe, you're gonna have to deal if you attacking one person, you're attacking us all. So you got to deal with all of us, and I think that to me comes to mind in terms of tribe. Like, do you have that sort of thing going on where it's like as you move through the world, okay, I got your back, you got mine, so
That's a good point. Oh, sorry.
no, peace, Akiel Carrara, peace.
Peace. Go ahead, Achochi Yafe.
I was gonna say that's a good point, and I come from that, like, well, at least from my mom's side, like it was if if one get attacked, you all jump in, like that's just like how I was brought up, and I always sometimes I would have like reservations about it because it's like, well, what if one of us is actually wrong, like how do you do that without going against the tribe? You know what I mean? And sometimes it would manifest as like afterwards, like, you was wrong for that. Like, you protect the tribe while we out in public,
Right.
but then it's like, but then that person, you do have to, you got to give them the what's for, afterwards to let them know, like, look, that's not how we supposed to go. And then I also thought about, does everybody know what it looks like when the tribe is being protected? And I have a story about it that I don't know, it might be embarrassing to blood relatives, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. But I will wait, I'll hold it, because it might be long. And you go ahead, Akiel Kara.
Oh, mine. Well, shoot. For me, it's like I sort of saw. Well, for me, I always see tribal dynamics, especially in history. You know what I'm talking about? But I watched Kingdom of the Planet of Apes, Last Shadow, man, and you sort of saw the tribal dynamic with Noah and his tribe. The Eagle Clan and whatnot. How all of them were basically followers of their own Tao or the way. They had eagles and whatnot, and they had their own rituals and things and rites of passages and whatnot. And then they meet a conquering force, where all of that is stripped away. Like, you're not going to be this no more. You're going to be this, or whatnot. And for me, it was like, sounds a little bit quite familiar, don't it? you know, but before all that happens, it was those ways that, saved them all in the end, and kept them alive. But yeah, man, I mean, tribe is very vitally important, especially, in this information and technological age where, once again, all of that's being stripped away. I'm talking about for a digital or global arena. Yet, especially when it comes to you, but let anybody else, they can still be one tribe. Like Chief gave the example of, what did he? No. I'm thinking of somebody else. But like, you sort of see like this tribal scamming or event, especially if you ever like went to church, and that's the only time we can commune, as a tribe, what I'm saying. but there's a lot of sickness, and there's no way, there's no tribal norms, there's no code, there's no character, what I'm talking about. And when you actually interact physically with your own tribe, and you see that this person has the same mindset that I do, or we follow the same ways and culture, it becomes very bonding, what I'm talking about, like scientific, how you see atoms form and they bond together, even with water, molecules, they can conform and contract, what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm done.
I'm curious to know, like, I don't know if you guys can speak to it, but how do you guys feel? And thank you, Aki Elkawar. Thank you for what you contribute. I'm wondering, like, do you guys feel a difference when you are moving throughout the world, or just throughout your strong, right? Because we don't all live together, right? Or by each other. We're spread out. So do you guys feel, I would say, maybe a sense of nakedness when you're moving throughout the world and you're not amongst your brother or your sister and Anu? Like, how do you guys feel when you're in spaces when you may be the only Anubian there?
Well, okay, short answer, no. And I don't know if that is the right answer. Like, maybe I should feel naked, but I would say no, because if I'm moving the way that I'm supposed to, if I'm moving as an Anubian, then you're with me all the time. If that makes sense. So, and if I know how to, like, because I'm sure, like, we all get, like, the crazy intrusive questions, whether it be from true, wanting to know and learn, or just curiosity, or just somebody being a jerk, all of that. I would say no, because then that also goes back to covering. If I know that I'm secure in my covering through my master, then no, I don't. And also, like, when I am out in the world, it's there to fulfill something that I was told to do, either fulfill a task, get something done, to be able to bring it back. So no, I would say no. Short answer, no.
Yeah. Same answer. I agree with that. Same. Yeah.
Oh, I would say no too, man, because like like Isaac says, man, it's gotta be in you, not on you, man. If it's on me, then yeah, I'm gonna feel naked when I ain't around, around the culture or anything like that. That's because it wasn't in me. But if it's in me, nah, man, whether whether we are, a giant force like we was in Times Square, or I'm by myself, the way is still with me, and everybody that follows the other way is still walking with me. You know what I'm saying? We walking right now. You know what I'm talking about? We still going along for the ride. So so no, no. The answer is no.
Now I have another question, if I could ask. Maybe before you go out into the world, right, to represent, like, what are some things that you envision? What do you have, like, those thoughts that you have in mind before you go out? What are those things that you envision?
Similar to what Master Milek said, represent, like, whatever I'm going out to do, I'm going out with an intent and a purpose. So if there's an opportunity where I have a conversation with someone, I'm always thinking, like, okay, you gotta represent. So I would say that's my answer.
Oh, I would say, what customized to me is this part in Indiana Jones' Last Crusade, when Sean Connery tells Indiana You know, my boy, we are pilgrims with the unholy land. That's what sometimes it comes in my mind. You know what I'm talking about? But you know, it's always, you know, keep a shield up and let's go. You know, let's explore, let's travel, let's see what's new, and let's see what we come up with. You know, what's new about this day. You know what I'm talking about? Or, you know, because it's all, you know, there's always something new. There's always something new. So for me, it's not, it's me getting prepared, you know what I'm talking about, but it's also me being in observance, you know, just to see what teachings, or, you know, teachings that Chief has given that I can observe in this day, you know what I'm saying, in this adventure, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah.
I I don't I think yes, but then sometimes it's different because sometimes I'll have those days like I wish you would, and even I know that that is not becoming, because and also I'm not even that type of person. I'll just be like, okay, y'all get them for me, 'cause I can't do it. And then there are other times where I'll be walking around and it's like I already know what it is. Like I know, like, if the day is planned out, because some of that is also like preparation, right? If the day is planned out, or it's like I have this, and this to do today, then yes, it's going out with an intention to complete or get, to a certain point, a level of completion, or to okay, this grant is due, make sure it happens. So yeah, yes, there is an intent, but I don't know if it's the same every time, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Let's see. Do we want to go through some of the comments? Master Miller says, I do feel vulnerable when not around my people. The retreats are my reference point and sometimes always feels missing compared to the times of physical proximity. I would agree. Because sometimes it's, I don't know, you feel, in some sense, you feel stronger when you have more people around you as opposed to walking by yourself. So you do feel a little vulnerable. I think about, like, I guess if you had a baby lion, because I mean, everybody's in a different level in their walking. I knew. So I think about, like, if you had a baby cub who may be strayed away from the pack, how they might feel vulnerable at times, So I don't know. I think about.
I guess I think about what it says in
it.
our new way, how we're supposed to be able to move in certain environments. So or a room move in a room full of vultures. So for me, I guess it's different for the man and the woman. Like, I guess when I think about the women, like, if we're going out, then we should be environments that we shouldn't be envir we should not be environments that are too crazy. But whatever it is that we're going out to do, is related to our purpose within our community anyway. So it's like, and if we have the strength of our head and our community behind us, then I would feel, safe and protected with whatever I'm doing, because I know in the back of my, there's my people are behind me. They're not there physically, but they're behind me. They're there. They're always with me in a sense. So
I think a sense of culture, as you're saying that, like, once a man in her sense of culture, she knows how to move and function in any space that she's in. So regardless, like, she's covered, she's good. Think about that.
peace,
Madison.
Peace, my families. Peace. So I think the question was asked, how do I feel? I'm trying to remember the question, but when we have our retreats, and well, one, when I'm not among my family, because we are scattered, I know I have the Most High protecting me, guiding me. But when we are, because that's the spiritual part, that's that part that I know that I'm always covered. Yes, there's a part of you that that you're in the world but not of it. But when we come together as one, like the last retreat, man, woo, the lightning and the rain and everything. It's that, like Chief was sharing, it's to get away. You got to get away from the chaos. You got to get away from it. And so being in the tribe, like Chief was mentioning, there's a sense of serenity, peace of mind. And then, but because you're around your own, you don't have to, like when I'm around my family, like El Karar and you both of you and Chief, I don't have to hide. I don't have to. I'm at home. It's like Chief was saying, as above, so below. So I'm just grateful when we come together. But like I said, but when I'm not with us, yeah, does the moments get harder and challenging? Yeah, it do. But I also keep in mind that this is the work we're called to do. We have to always be mindful that yes, we are in a strange environment, and it's not natural. What we do in Anu is all natural. So I'm just grateful that yeah, when we do come together and we do like the food and getting out, like Times Square, like we did that with. Uh, um, I was just thinking about when I was able to watch Akizak ate that cheesecake. Woo! But like I said, it's family. We're fun. We and then the drumming. Whoa! Around the campfire, around. I mean, it's like, dang. Man, it's just the excitement. I'm excited when I'm around my family, and Anu is wow. It's breathtaking. But again, it's heaven. That's heaven. That's what tribe's supposed to be. It's that again, that the camaraderie that you have among one another, the units, and then we all as individuals, but we also share the same common thread, that same desire, and that is building, community building, and righteousness, because that's the key, righteousness. Everybody's not righteous anymore. It's getting more crazy and crazier now, but righteousness, community building, unity, striving for that beauty. I just give thanks. I just give thanks.
Yeah,
That's
man.
beautiful.
Oh,
Oh no, I was saying that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you. Toda Rabba.
for sure. Yo, I was gonna say the same thing. It's like like Abba Root was talking about, man, especially like when you in that drumming circle and whatnot and things like that. You sort of find your lane when you when you in that ensemble. Like for me, it's like, yeah, I'm a woodwind. Yeah, drum is cool, but I like, yeah, I like to be, part of that, that woodwind, ensemble, because like I say, you'll find, we all part of the same tribe, but you'll find your city state and your flag, so yeah, I'll be in the woodwind section, or you might have, Master like he gonna be in the string section, he gonna be stringing his guitar, you know what I'm talking about, but yeah, man, I mean, but everything functions and works together to make make beautiful music together. You know what I'm talking about? Same thing, in the whole essence of a tribe, we all bring something to the table for for us to win. Whatever's there, win whatever's there. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, that's all I want to say.
May I add a point of clarity also? This is now. So I just to clarify, like it doesn't. I don't think. Well, I can only speak for myself. I didn't come to our new like, boom, I'm ready. Like I'm here. Like this is. I'm all about the Most High's work because I was of the world, and that pulling away is a process. Like it doesn't just happen overnight. So like while I'm saying no, I'm here that. But if you had asked me that like a few years ago, it'd be like, well, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I'm still learning. I'm trying to figure this out because it was like pulling away from makeup, pulling away from me, all those things that I used to do that to me, well, this is just what we do. This is normal. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, why is there a problem? And that's also because I wasn't studying the word. Like it was presented to me plenty of times, in my lifetime thus far, but it wasn't like I was really paying attention to it. And just like many other people making the excuses as to why, well, this is okay. It's not that bad, but we learned like ignorance of the law is no excuse. So so I just wanted to say like this is my answer now, but it doesn't mean that it was always like that. And that's also to speak to, because Obama mentions all the time how he has people who tell him like they're afraid to get on because everybody seems so on it and know what they're talking about. Like, no, this was a process, and it's the process is still happening because I say plenty of things that are off, and not right. So this is just to say like that's now. That's it.
You
Yeah.
it's interesting because it's like shedding. I keep thinking when Yahweh was sharing, and I knew you're gonna always be shedding that anything that's not for your greater good. You're gonna have to be shedding. It's like I think of spider molting, and even though because I have a molting of and I look at that spider the shell of it, and it's interesting because when you look at it, it looks real. It looks like, but that's not. It's not. It's the shedding of the old to the new, and then it's the thing what we're taught in Anu. I can look at my life before I knew and where it is. I know that not I knew we all have to shed, and that's just shedding just one moment. It's a lifetime of shedding. It's a lifetime of every day. It's a daily commitment. Again, going back to being committed. And so I know that we're all called in the same space to this is a commitment. So I knew that coming in, I knew was going to be a work. Is it rough? Yeah, but that's life. But the reward is doing your purpose, knowing that purpose and doing what you're called to do what is right. And then the reward is the Most High rewards you by, what, as us as men, women, you're here because again you have a purpose. And then like Yahweh Shai, like we learn that it's that, like Chi was saying, it's dying of self. You have to be willing. And unfortunately most people want to hold on to it. What I'm learning from the experience, and I get excited about it, is being willing to embrace the change, be willing to embrace the uncertainty. Like example, we went camping. I don't like spiders. I do not like spiders, creepy things. But you know what? I sat in a tent and I'm looking and they outside my tent, especially daddy like long legs. Because like I said, you learn a lot when you go camping. And I'm looking at them. I ain't worried about them. I said, you know what? I watched them. I looked at them. I'm like, wait a minute, y'all. I'm in y'all environment again. I'm in your environment, but why am I afraid of you for? I was not afraid. I was just embracing. I'm like, dang, I have never seen that many spiders outside of my tent. They were underneath because of the rain. Because when we experienced the rain, they were hiding. I'm like, dang, what? Well, and the next day, y'all gonna have to leave because I'm gonna pack my tent and go. But the point is, I got to experience watching them enjoy this moment because this is their environment. This is nature. And that's the thing that I love when we go camping, like Chief is saying. You gotta let go of all the frequencies going through your head and everything. But when you're out there camping, you're just like you're just embracing the moment and enjoying the moment, especially the leaves. The leaves, man, I thought it was raining. I'm like, wait a minute, I ain't getting wet. I'm like, okay, is it raining? And I have never heard that before. I have never ever heard the leaves rustle like that, where it's like sounding like rain. But you appreciate the moment, nature, appreciate I wouldn't have gotten that, especially in New York. I had never expected to get that type of experience in New York, but that's better than a movie. That's better than any experience. And so when you just enjoy that and just be open and let yourself be transformed. And I say that because you don't know what you're going to get. But the thing is having that experience and just allow yourself and let go. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Just let it go. Stop holding on to chaos, craziness. So what? But that I appreciate those moments. Can't wait to our next adventure.
Yeah. Can I also add on to what I've heard just said? I feel you with the spiders, same. And I was like, we're in their environment, so let them do what they do. But if you come inside the past the zipper, that's my environment. So then all bets are off. But and I think some of y'all saw me like 30 minutes straight looking for spiders in the corners of the tent. But nonetheless, like going back to the tribe part, that night and I think I said to a few people, like, this was actually out of the retreats that I have been on, this one was my favorite. And it's funny because this one was the most rustic. It wasn't completely primitive, but it was the most rustic that we've ever done. And I think the night that it thunderstormed and rained, I know some of y'all had a little flooding, but those of us who were on the hilltop, we were fine. But that was probably like the best night of sleep. I don't think I had ever been outside because I was a little nervous because I was like, "Oh my God, it's going to get wet." And it was like, "You're fine." It was literally like an internal conversation. "You're fine. Enjoy this moment. You're safe. You're surrounded by community. Like you'll be fine." And then once I like kind of got that negative voice out of my head, it was the best. Like I could aside from like, okay, just willfully no lightning strikes us, but watching like the sky light up and yes, it's raining all around, but like literally sleeping in the rain without getting wet. It was like, this is actually quite fun. This is actually quite relaxing. And also the feeling of safety, because literally I was surrounded by community. Like, so it's like nothing's gonna happen to you. Everybody's around. So like, yes, while I'm like, I think I don't necessarily go and feel vulnerable outside, but that like when I'm moving solo, but when there is that time together, like it just magnifies it even more. And that makes sense. It's not called Bear Mountain. Yeah. Okay, that was it.
Shalom, everyone. Shalom.
Peace, Aki now. Peace.
Yeah, even when Abba Heru was speaking, it made me think of what Akota Yafe actually brought up about how, when it was raining, I noticed that people weren't like getting out their tents and being like, "Oh, what do we do?" Like, for the most part, everybody was, remained inside of their tent and, slept as far as I could tell. Me and some of the other brothers were actually outside making sure that the fire didn't go out, so that we would have fire on Shabbat. It was, I think, Aki El Karar, Aki Mayuba, Aki Rahim, and Chief. Like, we were all outside. We didn't sleep that night, that it was raining, because we were like, yo, we got to make sure the fire's straight. And then we were just building off of, like, we were talking about tribe, like, we together. So, like, we just vibing. So we ended up just feeding off of that energy and not even sleeping that night. And that day, I wasn't even tired. Like, I wasn't like, I need to go and take a nap, or I need to go inside. It was like, nah, we just vibing off the energy of just being around each other,
I noticed that too. I wasn't tired. I was getting up early and stuff. And I was like, man, I got a whole bunch of energy. But yeah, it was
We
nice.
didn't have to sleep very long. That was another thing. Like, it didn't seem like we slept super long or needed much sleep at all, really.
Like getting up early. It was like, it was good times. Let's get to some of these comments. GPS says, always think about how I will be used for the day. So I make sure my dress and disposition keep me poised to be a vessel. I meet people every day and they often are drawn in, so I stay clean.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how
I would agree to that. There are times where I do, like when I'm in a balanced state, or I'm thinking that way, it's always sometimes like just imagining before I go out, like an opportunity to be able to share something, to share information, or to share something that has been given to me with somebody else, like that's always a thing. Like, I don't care if it's a word. I don't care if it's, the 120 studies. If I'm giving them some, supreme mathematics, I'll write it on a sticky note or napkin or something. But that moment where a person gets excited, or they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that," or "I didn't think about that," or, and you can say, "Well, hey, if you want to learn more, go to Anu Way, go to Anu Life Global Ministries," or whatever. Like, those moments to me are exciting. Like, those are the things that I think about before I leave the house. Like, a moment to be able to do that,
Nice.
And it's funny because, like Chief was just mentioning in the chat, most people are so conditioned. They're not used to, they hear tribe, they hear tribe, they think of maybe primitive or so. But we're showing the world that it's about civilized and honor and respect and dignity. And then when I share with my experience, being an Anu. And when I express that, most people are, they don't believe. It's so funny. It's like some, because we live in a world that's so artificial. And then when you share, no, this is organic, this is natural, there is no, you're gonna have to face your challenges, but tribal being community and based, but more importantly, the, like Chief is saying, being clean, being honorable, truthful. They don't believe that. I just had a conversation last week where with a candidate that could not believe that it's possible to be in a world where a community of people can get along, especially us as in Anu, to get along and work on our goals and our accomplishments, and yet be civilized. I'm from Chicago. These don't believe that. I'm like, but this is where you and I, all of us, are called. Like Chief, we heard the call from the Most High, and that is, be in the world but not of it. And again, going back to how we have to show those who don't. Even though I don't worry about those who don't believe, this is what I stand. This is what my code. This is the code of Anu. This is the code of what we stand by. We don't make our own rules. These rules were already here before I came here. So that's where living out the world and living it. It's not easy. Not necessarily not easy for me. It's easy. It's easier for me. But I learned it when I share with people. People got to see that. And so that means even separating us in, even though we all come from different backgrounds, we come from different family challenges or so. And I respect, but without Anu, my sanity wouldn't be that tribe. I always knew that I was striving for something, more importantly, righteousness, because no one wants to be righteous anymore. Everybody wants to go along because it's convenient. It's convenient to be evil. It's convenient to be backstabbers. It's convenient. Whereas we're talking about Anu. No, that's against the law. That's against the Most High's law. Treat with each and every one of us with honor and respect with one another. And like Chief was doing the segments about the envy, and he's breaking it down. And when he did a lot of these series, especially with the Jezebel series, and so people don't. And then you have to apply. Then you have to self-check yourself. Am I Jezebel? Am I Ahab? These moments in Anu gives us the opportunities to strive at building that. And then for those who are outside of Anu, thinking about looking for a community that, well, I don't know if Anu is right. Well, you ain't gonna know unless you come in. And if you haven't not the things that Chief has given, where's he getting that from? He's not getting it because he just has nothing better to do. He's tapped into a source, and this going back to tribe. And our culture tapping that part, as he was mentioning about the Elohims, having that interconnection, which is even further. And so it gives each and every one of us an opportunity to look forward to in our growing and building and watching us develop, as each and every one of us has a unique gift to bring to the community. And yes, have there been times was afraid? Was I afraid? Okay, of course, I was afraid of Chief. I shared that some time ago, but the fear was basically built. That was my insecurity, not Chief's. Chief is the most unique spiritual person I have ever met in my entire life. But I also knew, and of course, getting the opportunity to spend time with him, that he's interconnected. Now, it's hard for people to understand that. And again, when Chief was mentioning about when he just did the segment, when he was over in Nigeria, I've been to Nigeria, so I know exactly what Chief is sharing. Now, Chief has a greater experience. But see, when you deal with those elders that can tap in, it's like, that's he or she's got a special gift. That's what that tribal part connection comes in. It's like to see the inner eye that you can't go to school for this. You can't pick this up out of school. You can't pick up the intuitive part, the telepathy. You can't pick that up out of a book, or someone just give it to you and no. It don't work like that. It's either like El Karar was saying, is either in you or not in you. Okay. And if you, that part of the Most High building you, it's going to build that part of your uniqueness as a Nubian. So I just wanted to share that as a give thanks for our space and what we share. Especially Aki Nile, man, family members and everything. Like, woo, but I look forward to seeing the gifts of all of us growing and developing. So,
I found something interesting about that story that Chief was bringing up in Nigeria, specifically with the fact that he said, like, this is a group of Nigerians, and we know that we're not necessarily Nigerian, but we still know that there's some connection there. And I think that's a big part of being on news. Like, I can know that, yeah, I'm Hebrew, I'm a part of this tribe, but my Elohim, maybe our Elohims are related. Maybe there's something there to where I can see you, you can see me, and we know that somehow we are on a similar stream of cognition, because how was I able to determine that, we're the same somehow? Like, we have something similar inside of us, because I'm speaking to you from that same place. We're speaking in another place. So I found that real interesting, and that, because I mean, even in Anu, we're charged to, study different scriptures, study different cultures, and see, okay, where is the truth there? So I found that interesting in, the story as well.
I think as we study, you know what I'm talking about, all we doing is just studying ourselves, you know what I'm talking about. It's like, for me, this was the beauty about Chief, he was able to, put us in the story, a conceptualize, especially when it came to, when he reads scriptures and whatnot. It's like, yeah, I can do that because the dominant society put me out of the story. Now I put myself in the story. It's like, it all makes sense now. I get it now. You know what I'm talking about, or whatever. And people, when you're in tribe, people recognize their own. You know what I'm talking about? I was like, that one time she called me a Bama, and then you know what? I didn't think about it until, after, like, well, it takes some Bama to know what. I was like, but you know what? It reminded me of a memory I had with a cousin of mine from Alabama. It's like, and they said, but El Gerard, you are from Alabama. I'm like, no, I'm not. But I was like, yeah, you recognize your own, and you see it, amongst your allies and things like that, and you know who you talking to, you know what I'm talking about? Or like, there are certain languages and words that people use and pervert, you know what I'm talking about, that have tribal and cultural meanings, you know what I'm talking about? Like, you will break down how, hotel was a beautiful word and things like that, and had a cultural and contextual meaning, but then you have people that wasn't even part of the culture, or weren't even part of the tribal part of the conscious community, that perverted the word, and then it has now this negative connotation, So I mean, yeah, to be a part of a tribe comes with a lot of things, but it also comes with something that is alive and living. It's not dead, it's not dead culture. It's a living culture, you know what I'm talking about? So you have to eat, sleep, and breathe it, and like I say, be followers of that way, you know what I'm talking about?
It's funny, because when she was breaking the story down, most of us who've been there, like my first time when I went to Nigeria with my family there, who would have known? She was like, he's going back. It's so funny when she was breaking down the story about, I'm not just no ordinary, like, light-skinned boy. I mean, y'all can call me whatever you want to call me, but I know who I am. And so, again, if Chief did not know his relationship with the Creator, and this goes back to tribal, they don't want us to interconnect, one, with your own Elohim, secondly, with your own culture, and then third, to know who you are. And so Chief was like, no, you all of us on this panel, all of us, not panel, but in this live, is waking you up from your sleep. Like when I do in my meditation, I said, I give thanks for being woken up from my slumber, knowing full well that every day I'm awakening myself. And so I know that when I go back, because I haven't been back since when the pandemic was ended, I think this is 24 now. It's been about 2 or 3 years now. They know, and I communicate with them, but I'm different. I'm not the same, but it's because of again, like you're saying, the studies of it, I knew I still got a lot to study. Chief, keep it. I'm like, dang, you got Chief. I'm like, you got more and more, but that's the excitement because I'm a book nut. I love books. I haven't read all my books. I love surrounding by books. But the point is, like you said, when you realize you're the story and you're studying the life called you, you're studying your life, you're seeing your life unfold in that story. Like one of the things when Chief introduced us about learning Hebrew, and I'll be honest, I was one of the ones I'm like, oh no, here we go again. We got to learn another man, I left Christianity. I left Islam. I'm like, but then Chief did something, and I just thinking about this just the other day. It's like, wow, breaking down when he reads Genesis, when we read something from the scriptures, when we read something, and it's like it's a new wave. Like people are talking about, well, that culture, this Bible was written by them, and it's like, no, Chief's like, no, this is really older, and it's not just from the Bible, it's from the Quran. He can go from the Bhagavad Gita, he can go from different cultures, and it's like that's all entangled in us. It's in Anu, so it's like, whoa, but but the point is, he did it, and then been there, Nigeria, Cuba. It's like, I'm like, Chief, can you tell me when you went to the moon? I mean, where has Chief not gone? You know, oh yeah, I know about them. I hang with them. I'm like, damn, Chief. I'm like, but see, the point is, he's studying, and I don't put it past him. And that's the excitement that goes to have your Chief Jegna that's been there. I love it that it was said in one of the segments before, to boldly go where no man's gone before. I know that's Star Trek. I'm never a Trekkie, but going back to Tribe, it's like you're studying, you're getting ready to, like you said, it's not just the studying, but also going there. So a lot of you there that have never been to Nigeria, that's just one place. Then there's Cuba or different parts of this continent, because like, it's not about going there. It's like discovering what you are here. We're scattered. So now we're coming together. We're small. I like it's going to be small because you ain't killed us off. Because that's where the uniqueness of how each and every one of us come to this space. And so it's like, I know something about me is interesting because I'm the renegade. And I don't care if you like it or not. But it's like, that's that part of me, like El Karar, you that scholar, you that new John Henry Clark. I was like, dang. And Dr. Ben. And I'm like, but see, that goes back to the ancestral realm where you're talking about where you interconnect with these giants that came before us. And that's another thing, because we're tapping into that science that you can't go to school for that. You have to, that knowledge, going back to what Chief was sharing. So that's the part of the tribal part about tapping into those other worlds, tapping into those other scriptures that the ones I think was shared a couple Strongs ago, where they're still, like Master Menelik was mentioned, they're still finding the scrolls. They're still discovering stuff. We're discovering things, but that's where I am excited about the tribal part of our living and developing. And so I just give thanks with all of this. It's like, but I am gonna ask Chief that. I'm like, well, Chief, so what does it look on the moon? Is it are the women there different? Because I know you didn't go there on NASA. I already know you didn't go there that way. But the point is, so when you share this with other people like, hey, Chief ain't gone on. How do you know? How do you know? Matter of fact, he ain't gonna tell you how he got there, because you got to get a ticket. And it ain't no regular ticket. It ain't no digital ticket either. I don't care what anybody. Ain't no digital ticket. The point is, you can't get there no other way. But that's the point. Tapping in those parts where it's beyond the physical, beyond the norm. So I just want to give thanks. So I'm done.
Thank you.
Like El Carraro said, I'm done.
Thank you for sharing that. It's definitely only a small. And I do think about our role as women when it comes to, being a part of a tribe. We follow our head. So, like, we may not have been to the moon, but we have a head that went to the moon. So we better listen and follow. We know what's best.
Right. Well, I don't think we could follow after that. That was that was a great way to kind of lead us out. But if anybody has anything else they want to say before we close out.
Yeah, I probably say like Abba Root was saying, man, study is key. You know what I'm talking about? Because usually, scammers always, want to get you to focus on like Egypt or whatever. EA Wild's Buzz Book of the Dead. You never think about learning, Akkadian or Sumerian and things like that. Like with Chief, man, I got so many dang on lexicons and dictionaries now. You know what I'm talking about? Like for real, it's like and these are heavy books. I got, of course, I'm scholar, so of course I got these big books, these big expensive books. 2 volumes, 3 volumes. You know what I'm talking about? But that comes with the territorial study. You know what I'm talking about? And then it also expands your mind to thinking, you know what I'm talking about? Because like Chief explained, hey, Malcolm X world changed when he, read the dictionary. And then just think, you reading dictionaries from Akkadian, Hebrew, Sumerian, whatever, your whole world changes, and as you think, so can you do, you know what I'm talking about? So I say that, man, study is very key. And it also keeps you digging. You know what I'm talking about? It also keeps you digging and shakes that rough off to where you want to live a more healthy and full life. You know what I'm talking about? Where you want to do more. You know what I'm talking about? And things like that. Like for me, one impressionable thing that I didn't realize it would get me excited or be an honor for me is like hearing how one of Softa's grandchildren, Softa G's grandchildren, had a bunch of bows and arrows, in his room and whatnot. I was like, I taught that class. Oh, I was like, man, ain't nobody gonna get enough from this. But I did hear, Softa Ohio say, oh yeah, we found an archery class. I'm like, oh, that's wonderful. I never thought that'd be something, momentous. I just taught the class like, I'm gonna do the best I can or whatever. But just to see something like that, you know what I'm talking about, can be very, for me, worthwhile. You know what I'm talking about? And I did that amongst my tribe. I wouldn't do that for but I did that amongst my tribe, and it meant a lot. It meant so much. You know what I'm talking about? So you never know what you get. You know what I'm talking about in that sense, or how much it'll mean to somebody. Or how much of an impression you can be, or how much you can grow and shine and be that authority amongst your own. But if you ain't among your tribe, everybody else that is probably a part of their own tribe looking at you make you feel less than. You know what I'm talking about? Because math ain't mathing. But I'm done.
You know what? So this is the last part. I'm like Aki Zach. I'm Aki Zach today. What I appreciate in the space, and this is the tribal part, is there's a lot of scammers out there. A lot. Scamming has gotten to the point where it's gotten so sophisticated that you don't even know. It's like a ghost. What I appreciate about Anu is Chief is like, he breaks down. He's like, this is how you learn to spot a scammer. Like these fake Babalals, these fake Yanifas, all these fake priests, these fake people can read you and everything, and they can't and what I appreciate the space that Chief has taught is like, and he's conquered that. This space is not about stealing your energy, stealing your money. None of us have come into this space and like Chief's like, well, you know what? This is like Cleflo Baller and all these crooked coons. I call them coons that go out and you got to belong to this mecca. This ain't the space for that. This space is, are you willing to work on your divine self or not? Simple as that. If not, go on out there. You can hang with the other scammers, the other con artists, the other ratchet Jezebel. Someone scammed me. I'm not scam me. They tried, but I'd call them a dang on Jezebel spirit and a heartbeat. I'm like, and come on. But the point is, when you do right and strive on doing right and building your relationship with the Most High, hey, you don't have to worry about it, because, like you said, like Chief says, we got our protection. I ain't worried about the government or other con artists or the boule or so. I ain't worried about that. Been there, done that. And I knew it's about righteousness. Simple as that. So all the con artists and stuff, they're going to try you. They're going to, but then the question is, are you a scammer? Are you a con artist? The thing I'm grateful about Chief is that he teaches you how to avoid being scammed by everybody. Everybody. It is up to you and I to practice truth, practice honor, honesty. If we aren't willing to live righteously or honest, guess what? You're doomed. You're doomed anyway. So I just want to give thanks with that. Now end it with that.
Hey, I gotta build off of that real quick because when you said divine self, working on your divine self, it made me think of our salvation model and the fact that everyone has to hoist themselves up that chain of salvation, but it's easier to do when you're in a group where everybody is trying to climb that chain and everybody is working, and you'll see the other person climbing. You'll be like, you got it, bro. You got it, sis. Come on. Like, I see what you're working on. You're doing it, right? So it's like, we all have that charge on us to be like, yeah, we all gotta do the work. Even when she was breaking down healing, like, yeah, you healing yourself. Like, I can channel it to you. Mm-hmm. We may be able to channel it to another person, but we all have to do that healing for ourselves. So I would say, even to the people that are watching who may not be in Anu right now, but are thinking about it, like, maybe I should join. I don't know. I've been liking it. Might want to, get in here, see what it's about. And, start to really do that work of hoisting yourself up. And I'm telling you, it's easier to do when you have brothers and sisters around you that are also doing that same work.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Toda Rabba. Thank you all for hopping on and sharing your insight and your passion and your love for Anu and Tribe. Absolutely. We will be back again next Sabbath following Master's Message. It's going to be a series on Tribe. So if you want to continue on, make sure you go back and watch today's Sabbath message, and also try checking out some of those other videos that we mentioned, Tribe from the Chief Yuya channel. And we'll see you back again, same time. We'll be on time next strong, but we'll be back again.
We're on time all the time. We always on time. We don't always run to the world's time. We on the Most High's time. You
that's right.
First time.
That's right. All right. Shabbat shalom, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your Sabbath.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.